Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Write it real big so I can see it, Keisha. So I can see it. Oh, that's a small, yeah. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to The Beautiful Truth, Raw, Naked, and Exposed. My name is Beverly Smith Brown, and I will be your host. I'll be here every second and fourth Sunday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Again, welcome. Thank you all for joining me for my very first show. I am super excited to be here. Definitely want to give a shout out to voxwave.com and all of the awesome hosts that have TV shows here. You definitely want to check it out. This show is really interactive. We have a phone number that you can call in at 240-719-2560. This show will be about the truth, raw, naked, and exposed. We will have guests come on to tell their story of how they have overcome issues. Maybe they may be going through domestic violence. It could be drug addiction, losing a loved one. We have sexual abuse going on, guys. We also have people not knowing who they are. Are they a male? Are they a female? We have a lot of issues going on in our community that we will uncover and discuss right here at The Beautiful Truth. So again, I am super excited. Thank you all. And definitely let your friends and family know about voxwave.com and letting them know that I'll be here every second and fourth Sunday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. This morning show, our first show, we have a great show lined up. I have some youth coming in. Our topic will be about life after death. So we will be talking about how do you cope after losing a loved one. It's not easy. I know that too well, very personal. I lost my mom in 1994. In 2006, I lost a sister. Actually, April 2006, I lost my older sister. In June 2006, I lost a younger sister. I lost a cousin in 2012. Another sister passed away in 2013. My brother passed away a year ago today. And just yesterday, we said our goodbyes to my 25-year-old nephew. It's not easy dealing with a loss of a loved one. We do have some people who will be calling in. I actually have my beautiful niece in the studio who will be joining me here to talk. I will be speaking with her about how she's coping with not having her mom, my sister, Shara Smith. So we will be sharing a little bit about her, my sister's story, as well as my niece talking about how she's coping with life without her mom. We'll also have the beautiful Mignon Brown Anderson will be calling in to discuss how she's coping with losing her daughter to domestic violence. Guys, it's a lot going on, and I think it's so important for people to share their testimonies. You know, when we live in our truth, we give others the okay to do the same. So we have to let go of the guilt and shame that comes with what we may have done and what we may have not done when we talk about losing a loved one, you know, because it could be a heavy burden that I know some people walk around with if they didn't get a chance to say their goodbyes or to patch up a relationship. So those are some of the discussions that we'll be having. We also will have beautiful Alana Nicole will be in to blaze the stage with a amazing song. She's going to sing for us, and we have some youth from Out of the Mouth of Babes. We are also honoring the legacy of Mr. Harold Ike Foster, who we lost a few months ago, a giant in the community. So he has a program that he started teaching the youth Black facts. He would go into some of the roughest areas of D.C., Southeast D.C., Congress Park in particular, and he would teach the youth Black facts and will really wow the people on the information and just showing them that, and Mr. Foster would grab some of the youth that people threw away, that they were put out of classrooms. Those were the ones that he had a heart for. And we have two of them in the studio with us today who will be honoring Mr. Foster's legacy and sharing some of the information that Mr. Foster have shared with them. And again, legacy is very important. So, yes, I'm super excited. Again, The Beautiful Truth, Raw, Naked, and Exposed is really an extension from my book entitled He Kept Me. I wrote in November 2011, and it deals with all of the I'll say hurt, the guilt and shame that I went through, and just sharing just a small tidbit of my testimony. I grew up number 8 of 9 children in a single parent home. I was raised in Southeast DC. In the 80s, my mom and my family really became a victim of the crack epidemic when my mom started using crack, and my sisters and myself started selling drugs to keep the money in the home. We started experiencing everything, all of the lows that you can experience with that type of situation. Teen pregnancy. I had sisters that dropped out of school and didn't complete school. I actually lost my mom to crack in 1994. I have a sister who ran away with a Panama. He was from Panamania. I don't know if you all know about back in the 80s where you had the Jamaicans and the Panamas that was coming into, the Panamanians were coming into with these large amounts of money coming into our communities. And my sister ran off with one and never came back. So our family was hit hard by the crack epidemic. I found myself in a domestic violence relationship at the age of 16, and by 19, I had 3 children. I was able to escape that relationship, and I was able to graduate with my class of high school with 2 kids in the audience, but it did not... It wasn't that high school diploma wasn't able to save me from all of the other obstacles that I faced with being a teen mom and losing my mom to drugs and dealing and coping with life after death. And that's what we are here discussing today. And that's why I think it's so important to talk about your testimony. And when I wrote my testimony in this book entitled He Kept Me, it was the thing that I needed to I'm gonna tell you, I purged when I wrote this story. It was really a purging. I was able to relive every situation. I was gang raped. I mean, you name it. I was pushed out of a 2-story window. I have a plate in my jaw. My mouth was wired shut for 6 weeks. I was able to relive every horrific situation, and it was painless. I really believe that God had his hand on me and still do. God is able, and he was the one that really was the one who pulled me out of the belly of the beast. And I'm going to tell you, sharing my testimony, I've had many, many men and women, teens come up and talk to me about how it has helped them. So I encourage you. It's not easy going through. If you are someone who's going through those things, you definitely want to get someone that you can talk to, and don't blame yourself. I know it's not easy, but the first thing is not to blame yourself on what is going on if you are. And if someone comes to you and talk to you about a drug addiction or domestic violence or maybe some self-esteem issues, that is not your opportunity to put them down and to judge them. Love is all we need in this world. So again, The Beautiful Truth, Raw, Naked, and Exposed with Beverly Smith Brown. And I'm going to go to a commercial break. And when I come back, we'll have the beautiful Kanisha Smith here with us sharing her testimony of how she's overcoming life after death of her mom. Be right back.
You know, there is this particular dance that I want to learn how to do. Everybody's doing it. The young and the old, from the north to the south, and from the east to the west. I want to know how to do it. I want to know how to hand dance. Show me how to do it. I want to know, can you teach me? Can you teach me how to hand dance? Can you show me how to do it? I want to know how to hand dance. Show me how to do it. I want to know how to hand dance. Show me how to
Hello?
do it.
Hey, this is Terry.
Hi, Terry.
I
Okay.
can't hardly hear you. Hold on.
Are we live now?
Hello?
Okay, all right, guys. We are back. We are live here with my niece, Kanisha Smith.
Hi, everyone.
And we also just got a call in from Terry. I'm going to let Terry introduce herself to you all. Terry, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes.
Let me, I'm going to hang up and call you right back.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys, that was Terry, the amazing Terry. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you all and let you know who she is. But we do have my niece, Kanisha Smith, here. Okay, we have Terry back. Terry? Hello? Terry?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me, Terry?
Yes, got you. How are you?
I'm well. We are live on The Beautiful Truth, Raw, Naked, and Exposed. And you know, we could not do this first show without having you on and sharing your testimony. And just, you know, tell everyone who you are and what The Beautiful Truth is about. Because, you know, let everybody know that you can speak on that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Terry Thomas, and Raw, Naked, and Exposed, The Beautiful Truth is basically about women coming together. We're talking about incest. We're talking about drug abuse. We're talking about our kids passing away. We're talking about homelessness. We're talking about AIDS in our community, HIV in our community. We're sharing a lot of things that the way we were brought up was what happens in the house stays in the house, or what happens to you stays, you know, with you. You don't share it with anybody. Being the women that we are, and we go through so many things, especially living in Washington, D.C., we have to deal with so many ups and downs. My main concern is about the young women of today that's here in the district area, is to be able to share these things and don't keep quiet about them. That's what the Raw, Naked, and Exposed, Beautiful Truth is all about.
That's right. Well, definitely appreciate you, Terry. And can you share your testimony? Our topic today is life after death. And you know, you have my condolences. You lost your son a few years ago in a car crash, and today is his birthday. Can you talk a little bit about that testimony and life after, you know, living life without your children?
Sure, not a problem. On July the 2nd, 2011, two families, I lost two sons. It was 4 people in the car. 3 people passed away. The young lady who was driving was one of them, and she was drunk, and she was driving my 2 boys home. The thing is that, you know, after they passed away, I'm going to be honest with you, you know, I wasn't any good. My mind wasn't right. You know, I had to, the thing was when I found out about this, I found myself walking down to the crash site. And when I looked at all the debris and papers and things like that, and I was like, wow, you know, this can't be just all it is of my child, of my kids. You know what I mean? That was it. That was the whole thing. Afterwards, it took me a really, really, really long time to accept the fact that they weren't here. That's not the natural order of things. The natural order is that you live, you have your children grow up, and you move on, you pass on, and your kids continue to live. I couldn't understand that. That didn't make sense to me. I found myself then very, very angry. I'm not sure if I was angry at God, if I was angry at my kids for leaving me. I don't know if I was angry at this young lady, but I was extremely angry for a very long time. Basically, what I did was I actually had to leave the D.C. area for a couple of years, and I went to go be with my family. I needed to be around my family. I needed to get grounded again. In doing so, I do also have a 17-year-old. He'll be 18 next week. And I kind of like damaged that relationship as well because he was actually going through, he was 10 at the time. And I also have a grandbaby, and my son had, you know, his mother. So I kind of like damaged those relationships when I left. I had to do that for me. When I finally did come back to D.C., and that's when I met you, Beverly, when I was just getting back. And I was living in a homeless shelter for women. It was time for me to get my life back on track, mind, body, soul, spiritually. And what I did was I went out to my son's gravesite. This was 3 years ago on his birthday. And I left at the shelter about 8 o'clock in the morning. It was really cold. And I sat there that entire day. And I had a conversation. I cried, I kicked, I screamed, I yelled, I laughed, all these things I did. But what I realized is when I left there, and I told you, I shared this with you, Beverly, it was like an epiphany that I had. When I left there, I was turning back to look back, and I saw myself and I saw my son, and they were waving goodbye to me. I was letting it go. I was letting some things go, you know, and I was able to function after that. I can't say that mothers grieve differently than people who lose a mother or a father or something like that, because we all grieve in a certain way. The thing that I can say is that it does get better. You never forget. You never forget. But it does get better with the help of God and your support system. It gets better.
And your strength, you know, and like you said, it's so awesome. I truly believe in divine connections. And the strength that you gave me, I know we were feeding each other, but the strength that you were given just to see what you've been through and to see how strong you were in your steps. And right in the midst of everything that you were going through, you didn't sit there. You kept going through. And even when you were sitting at that gravesite, you had that opportunity to sit through all of those emotions, which is important. When you're grieving, to go through those emotions and get it all out of your system and not run from those emotions. And when you knew that it was time for you to go, you had to do that so you can be better for your son. So I appreciate you tremendously, and I know that God has his hands all over you because you have your success story, because you're you're out of the shelter. Can you share just a little bit about what's going on now as it relates to that?
Not a problem. So after I went through that, and I was able to lift my head up a little bit. I actually got into project empowerment. You know what I'm saying? And I can't do nothing but say this at all times. Mr. Lewis, big shout out to Mr. Lewis. When I sat there in project empowerment, I never met this man from a can of paint. This man was speaking directly to me about certain situations and issues that we deal with in the work community. From that time on, my feet been on the ground and running. And you're right, I left the shelter about 6 months later. I got a job at Big Bus Tours. Guys, make sure you check us out. We're the #1 tour company in Washington, D.C. I was there maybe about 3 or 4 months. And actuality, on my son's birthday 2 years ago, I was offered a supervisor's position, and I've been there and been doing that and moving on ever since then.
Yes.
I've left the shelter. I moved into an efficiency. From an efficiency, I moved into a beautiful 1-bed apartment. I purchased me a car that I'm still paying on for today, that I'm sitting in right now.
That's right, God.
It has been, and I can only say this, I had a struggle. It was either I was going to go left or I was going to go right. I was going to go up or I was going to go down. It was never no in between. And I decided I made a decision, a conscious decision to say, you know what? It's time for me to start living again. And that's exactly what I did. Me and my son, we had the best bond that we could ever have. I'll lay my life down for this child. I would rather see my child sitting in the house with me than to be out on the street, and he loves it.
That's right.
He loves it.
But to God be the glory.
Yeah.
Wow. You was going to say something else? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's that, today is his birthday, my oldest son. He would have been 28 years old. I celebrate his birthday every year. I never work on that day. Also, on July the 2nd, 2011, I never work on that day. I celebrate his birthday as well as I celebrate his death.
Yeah.
Because he was on loan to me. I realized that.
Yeah.
He was on loan to me for 20 years. He was on loan to me to give me my grandbaby and to make me understand that no matter what, I'm still his mother.
That's right.
In this lifetime and in the next. And when I get there with him, I'm still going to be his mother. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I'm eternally grateful just to be a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome,
and
Terry. That's awesome.
That's honestly speaking.
Whew, that is powerful. And I know some people were encouraged by that. I mean, like you said, from, glory to glory, even in the midst of everything you were going through. I thank you so much. The beautiful truth, raw, naked, and exposed. When I met Terry in that, when she was in the shelter, I came and did a speaking engagement, and she came up to me afterwards, and she said, God is speaking to me to come to you. And she said the beautiful truth, raw, naked, and exposed, and we did a documentary. Amazing documentary. You can check it out on YouTube. And now God has moved it to a TV show, and we going forward with some. And I know God's going to continue to bless and enlarge our territory. So I truly appreciate you, Terry. Happy heavenly birthday to your son. I know that you're going to celebrate in a great way for him. And also to Sister Antoinette, definitely my prayers are to her. She was definitely one of the members that was in the documentary, and her overcome a story of going from homelessness to homeowner. But she lost her son recently, and our prayers are with her. So please let her know that our prayers is with her, and much love to you both. Love you. Thank you so much for calling in.
I love you too. I love you too, guys. Please understand, raw naked is exposed, the beautiful truth that we're here.
That's right. All right now. Blessings to you. All right, guys. Yes. So we have Kanisha Smith. And like I said, I lost my sister in April 2013 to a drug overdose. And I have Kanisha. She is my sister's second to the oldest daughter. She's one of 7 children. So, Kanisha, I want to talk to you, if you could share with them a little bit how you're coping with your mom. I know it's not easy.
Hi, I'm Kanisha again, and when I got the news that my mom passed, I didn't really know if I should cry, or I didn't really know what I should do, because we was actually supposed to go over her house that day. So I broke down, I cried, and afterwards, like months after everything happened, I felt like I was by myself. Like, I didn't really have nobody, because no matter what my mother was going through, no matter what she put herself through, she always put her kids first. She always made sure her kids was straight. So I just felt like I only have my mom. And since I don't have my mom, I just felt like I didn't have anybody. And I felt like that for some time. And then I started to move with my dad, and stuff wasn't going great over there. So I just felt like I really don't have nobody. So as I started to get older, I'm 19 now, and when I started to get older, I just realized not to keep pointing the finger at other people and what they should do for me, and they should be there for me and stuff. I should just start focusing more on myself, and I'm very talented, I'm very gifted, and I can go very far. And now I think about my mom, and I cope with my mom, just talk about happy times, because she was a happy person, always smiling, just a happy person. So I would talk to my siblings about happy times with our mother, just laugh about it. And I would just get what I need to do with my life, get everything done with that so I can make her proud and make myself proud.
Awesome. And I know she is very proud of you.
Yes.
We have experienced a lot of tragedy in our family. We just lost my nephew, your cousin, and just said our goodbyes yesterday. And you did an amazing dance tribute to him off of Break Every Chain. And I'm going to tell you guys, when she was up there dancing, all I could see was my sister. She looked exactly like my sister, Shara Smith, and I love her. You know, my sister was definitely, like she said, she cared for her children, loved them so much. She went through some domestic violence issues, was dealing with some different issues that like I said, I shared my testimony of what we went through growing up, and she was not exempt from that. She went through a lot as well, and we both ran into the arms of abusers and domestic violence, and it took my sister out. But I'm going to tell you something about my sister and why her life, say it, Shara Smith, say her name, Shara Smith, will live on through her children because she poured so much into them. And although she was hurting and was self-medicating, she still poured everything that she could in her children. So I have some numbers I want to share with you all. If you're going through any kind of drug abuse or depression or anything like that, we have the depression hotline number is 703-340-1454. There is help out there for someone who may be going through substance abuse. If you're going through substance abuse, you can call a hotline number of 1-855-335-6649. Those numbers are very important. There's a lot of help out here, guys, if you need it. And I always see, and I say that for my own family, I see people suffer alone just by not, the guilt and shame of sharing the information. We put our smiles on and that kind of thing, but this is very important for you to have that support system of someone that you can talk to and be there for you when you are going through. And if you don't have that person, we have a crisis call center that you can also call to get information or support. And that number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, for the substance abuse number is 1-855-335-6649. All right, guys. Thank you, Kanisha, for coming out. And again, like she said, she's very talented. She sings, dance, models. She does it all. So you definitely will see her back on the show to perform. Thank you again for coming, babe. I love you so much.
You're welcome anytime.
And we will be right back with some more performances. We're going to hear from our youth from Out of the Mouth of Babe. Stay tuned.
Have pity on those whose chances go thin. But
There
there's no hiding place against the king of throne. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. So people get ready. There's a train coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no tickets. You don't need no tickets. You just thank the Lord. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. Get ready, there's a train coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket. You don't need no ticket. You don't need no ticket. You So just thank the Lord. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, for there's no hiding place against the kingdom's throne. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready.
Look pretty, put your arm. All right, guys. Woo! We are back. We've had an amazing show so far. The beautiful truth, raw, naked, and exposed. Just want to thank Terry for calling in and my niece Kanisha for coming in. They're sharing their testimonies. Today we are talking about life after death. How do you deal with losing a loved one? I know for me, it has not been an easy journey as it relates to, someone who you used to talking to every single day, maybe your mom. I know I lost my mom and it has not been easy coping. But one of the things I've learned from Dr. Maya Angelou was the legacy of death. And her book entitled, It Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now, she talks about the legacy of death. And one of the things that I've walked away from with that book was being able to honor those who came before us. You know, you honor your ancestors, you honor your heavenly angels. And the way that I do that is to carry on their legacy. What was their purpose? What was something that she put in me or he put in me and wanted, their call to action to try to keep their legacy going. So that's a way that I deal with losing my mom and my sisters and my brother, is try to keep their name and their life alive as it relates to the seeds that they planted in on this earth. And I am one of the seeds that they planted, my ancestors, because they did so much and have paved the way for so many people. So those of you all who have lost a loved one, we have to rejoice because we know to be absent from the body is to be present with Christ. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but it is so true. It is so important for us to understand that our loved ones will always be with us. And if we could just go into that secret place within ourselves and sit quiet and know and hear from that inner voice on how special we are as it relates to the divine connections of the people who have come in our life and left, because we know that we are all here for a temporary time, and it's so important for us to really set our legacy and make sure that we are really making our mark in this earth. So with that being said, I want to bring up a man, Mr. Harold Ike Foster. No, he cannot be in the studio today because he had left this physical realm a few months ago, but we have some youth who he had planted seeds into, who was here to share their testimony and just a little bit about what Mr. Harold Ike Foster have taught them. So I am going to turn over to my little beautiful guests, Nevaeh and Layla from Out of the Mouth of Babes. So can you tell us who you are? Share with us your name.
My name is Nevaeh, and I'm 11 years old.
Okay.
My name is Layla, and I'm 12 years old.
And we're going to introduce our facts.
Well, first, let me ask you a question. You worked with Mr. Foster, right?
Yes.
What is something that you remember about Mr. Foster that he have taught you?
I remember that he told me do not take stuff from other people and don't be shy.
That's right. He told you to stand in your power, right? What about you, Layla? What have Mr. Foster taught you?
He told me not to put my head out in the window.
He taught you not to put your head in the window. What do you mean by that? You want to share the story?
One day, we was in the car, we rode to McDonald's, and I stuck my head out in the window, and he rolled my neck up in the window.
That was love, right? You know Mr. Foster, because I'm pretty sure he gave you a warning first, right? All right, guys, so y'all want to share some of the amazing information that Mr. Foster worked diligently with you all on every single day, right? He would come over to the community center every day and teach you all some black facts, right? Yes. All right, so show everybody what he taught you all.
Nevaeh, what's the largest ocean?
Pacific.
Longest river?
Now.
Tallest mountain?
Mount Everest.
Largest desert?
Sir.
Largest state?
Alaska.
Smallest state?
Rhode Island.
State with the most people?
California.
State with the least amount of people?
Mississippi Avenue.
State with the most black people?
I don't know that one.
You want to help her? Mississippi is the one with the black people, okay.
And how tall?
How tall is the Washington Monument?
555 feet tall.
How many steps?
You want to help her out, Layla?
897.
Okay. Well, great job, Nevaeh. Great job. All right, Layla, what do you have for us?
I'm going to spell this word, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Awesome. What else, Mr. Foster, teach you?
I'm going to say all 45 presidents. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams, Jackson, Van Born, Harrison, Tyler, Polk, Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Hurston, Cleveland, McKinley, Roosevelt, Taft, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump.
Awesome. What about our mayors of Washington, D.C.? Tell me what Mr. Foster told you.
What's on the $1 bill?
What's on the $1 bill? Washington, the $2 bill, Jefferson, 5, Lincoln, 10, Hamilton, 20, Jackson, 50, Grant, 100, Benjamin Franklin, 500, McKinley, 1,000. I forgot that one.
It's okay. You did a great job. Is there anything else you want to share with it? Because you're educating the community right now. You're giving them some information for the world. So is there anything else? Because we are honoring Mr. Harold Ike Foster. This is some information that he worked every day to teach our youth. And it was very important to him. It was a word he taught you, Layla, when someone talks too much.
Logorrhea.
Logorrhea. Can you spell that for us?
Logorrhea.
Awesome. All right. Anything else? Because, see, I know he poured a lot into you all guys. And Mr. Foster, like I said, we lost a giant in the community. He was someone who, he was not paid. He volunteered his services. He was also someone who, if we had mothers without heat, he would go down to the mayor's office and rally for them. If a youth was put out of school or anything like that, he would go to the schools and get them put back into the schools. He worked diligently with me, with Mama Safe Haven, in the communities. And this is just a snippet of some of the information that he would teach our youth. A truly true huge giant in our community, and it's just an example of what you could do. You can grab a youth and teach them information that will take them so far. Guys, did you all want to say anything else?
A memory. I remember when he took us to go perform our facts at Bird Farm, and we performed. Then we had ice cream, and he bought us some popcorn and gave us bags with hand sanitizer and wipes and stuff.
Awesome.
And we made over $1,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what you're saying is when you're educated, some perks come with that when you're learning information, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate you all for coming out. I'm going to tell you guys, that is Layla and Nevaeh. That is our future, guys, and that's why I wanted the first show to really highlight our youth and our future. It's very important for us to pour into our community and not to be afraid of our youth. It takes a village, and you have the ability to save a youth. And I'm going to tell you, you can start by just smiling. You can start by just the way you're looking at them. They can feel, if you feel as if they are negative, if you feel like they are going to do anything if you looking at them like they are nothing, they can feel that. If you look at them like they can do anything they put their mind to do, then you have just created a giant. So I encourage everyone today to pour into our youth. Right? It's so important for you to plant the seed so you can live forever. Because long live Mr. Harold Foster. Long live Sheriff Smith. Long live your loved ones who are no longer here, because you will carry on that torch for them, knowing that you are honoring their legacy. It's very important to do that. I'm very honored to be sitting here at voxway.com with this opportunity to speak to you all. And I encourage you all to share this video with your family and friends, just to share that there is life after death. There is life after death. And I also want to speak just a snippet, because I feel something when I say life after death. I want to talk briefly about dying to your flesh and living again, as it relates to, it's a lot of things that we were taught. I know for myself, I was taught that was not good for me, like the way that we eat, the music that we listen to, some bad company. I realized that I was really bringing this negative energy to me. I couldn't understand why I kept finding myself in a domestic violence relationship. I couldn't find myself in these bad relationships, even with my female friends. So it was something that I had to clean all of the junk out on the inside of me and say, I deserve more. So that way I can be more open and freeing to help the next person and be that light in their life. So when my number is called, my life will live on forever through those that we touch. So want to take another short break. I'll be right back with our closing remarks. Thank you all for tuning in to The Beautiful Truth, Raw, Naked, and Exposed with your girl, Beverly Smith Brown. welcome back to The Beautiful Truth, Raw, Naked, and Exposed with your host, Beverly Smith Brown. Wow, this has been an amazing first show. I am going to close the show up with just a few words from my book entitled He Kept Me, that you can find on Amazon.com. You can also go to my website at mamassafehaven.org to find out more information. But I am just going to read a snippet. I know we're talking about life after death, but this was something from my book, and it is in chapter 9 entitled Love Hurts. So behaviorists believe that we can only study behaviors that can be measured as a result of one's interaction with the environment. They believe that other than reflexes and instinct behaviors are learned, not built in genetic wiring. Right? So they saying that it's learned behavior and not built in your genetic wiring. So when I became pregnant at the age of 16 with my first child, I thought I was doing good because my friends were getting pregnant and dropping out of school at the age of 12 and 13. Growing up in this environment, it was okay to get pregnant out of wedlock and seek assistance from the government. And I wanted to read that part because you talk about perspective, right? And that was one of the things for me. My perspective on life was different because of the community in which I was raised in. It wasn't until I turned 18 and got a job at Tellac in Virginia, where I was working with different nationalities, that I realized, having three kids at 19 was not the norm, right? It was actually frowned upon. Like I said in my book, I had friends that was getting pregnant at 12 and dropping out of school. So because I got pregnant at 16 and actually graduated, I thought that I was really the cream of the crop. But it's so important for us to check our perspectives and always understand that people can only see you through their lens. And sometimes we kind of get caught up in how someone is looking at us, but it's really about how you feel about yourself. So I'm super excited again about this opportunity to come to you all every second and fourth Sunday to share others' testimonies as well as my own. We have call-ins. You can feel free to call in at 240-719-2560. So we have a special treat for you all because remember I told you that my niece is very talented, and we're going to get a little snippet of that, and we're going to end the show with Kanisha Smith singing one of her favorite artist songs. So check her out, guys.
One shot to your heart without breaking your skin. No one has the power to hurt you like your king. Kept it inside, didn't tell no one else. Didn't even wanna admit to yourself. Now your chest burns and your back aches because down the years are showing up on your face. But you'll never be happy and you'll never be whole until you see the beauty of growing up. Get it together. You wanna heal your body. Get it together. You have to heal your heart. Whatsoever you sow, you will reap. Get it together. You can fly, fly. Dark future ahead of me, that's what they say. I'll be starving if I ate all the lies they fed. 'Cause I've been redeemed from your anguish and pain. A miracle child, I'm floating on a cloud. 'Cause the words that come from your mouth, you're the first to hear. Speak words of beauty and you'll be there. No matter what anybody says, what matters most is what you think of yourself. Get it together. You wanna heal your body. Get it together. You have to heal your heart, yeah. Whatsoever you sow, you will reap. Get it together. The choice is yours, no matter what it is. To choose life is to choose to forgive. You don't have to try and hurt him or break his pride. Just shake your weight out and you'll be ready to fly. One shot to your heart without breaking your skin. No one has the power to hurt you like your friend. Thought it would never change, but as time moved on, that ugly duckling grew up to be a swan. And now your chest burns and your back aches from 15 years of holding the pain. And you'll never be happy and you'll never be old until you see the beauty of growing old. Get it together. You wanna heal your body. Get it together. You have to heal your heart, yeah. Whatsoever you sow, you will reap. Get it together. You wanna heal your body. Get it together. You have to heal your heart, yeah. Whatsoever you sow, you will reap. Get it together. You can fly, 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 fly. You can live or you can die. You know that life is a choice you make. You can give or you can take. You can fly, 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 fly. 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 Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.